Welcome to the MCNet Christian Leadership Institute, a unique approach to equipping the next generation of Christian leaders. CLI is an initiative of the International Ministry Coaching Network and implements a competency-based mentorship for ministerial training. It provides a program for pastors and church leaders to train their leadership teams. This podcast series is designed to equip you in how to use the materials and implement this training within your church or organization.
Well, welcome back again, Doug. Mm-hmm. Glad you're here, otherwise I'd be by myself.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yep.
You're the brains behind the operation there. I was going to say I'm the good looks, but I don't think so. Like people told me, I've got a face for radio.
Well, I'm not sure people are going to be watching these videos to see good-looking people.
No.
But,
well, you know, and the smaller the screen, the better we look.
Yeah.
But this time we're looking at Applied Theology 4.3, and this is really the discipline of studying Christian theology, you know, but really how it impacts my own personal life, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Because theology is great, but it has limited value if we don't understand it in the terms of how does it shape our growth? How does it shape how we understand cultural issues? There's lots of issues: ethics, morality, relational dynamics.
Yeah, we usually don't think of all those things being impacted by theology, do we? They're kind of separate almost.
But they actually are, and maybe applied theology could also be kind of called thinking theologically about things, right?
Okay.
That would be good. But anyway,
that was too long of a title. I think we thought that was too long.
But it was too long. Applied is good. Yeah. So Christian leaders not only need to know and understand the content, theological content, but they need to apply it to their lives as well as how they serve. So it impacts our leadership.
Which is really what this competency is all about. And so as people get into it, you know, it's really all about personal application.
Yeah. So we go about this through an assessment. We've developed 30 questions of an applied theology self-evaluation.
Right.
And that's where we begin the process of learning here. And
some of the questions in terms of some of the theology that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, some of the questions, they're really geared at how they apply to various areas that we've talked about.
Right.
You know, how do you apply, or do you apply theology to how you interpret culture? Do you apply theology in how you make decisions in terms of your leadership?
It really comes against our worldview again, right? As we were looking last time.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing with this is that it also has a lot to do with what we're our own ministry and our own leadership. Because I mean, if you have a theology of servant leadership, that's going to impact your life, impact your ministry. If you don't, and you haven't thought of that, well, then you're not going to apply that, and you're going to keep that separate. And so you're going to have, you know, your professional or your public ministry, but it's not going to be congruent with what your deeply held beliefs really are.
Yeah, and I think that's where this really helps, is as we conform more to the truth, that as we learn it, we get more consistency in our life, in whatever area of life we're in. So.
If you are interested in using this training program to develop leaders within your church or organization, click on the link in the description or go to our website, mcnetcli.org/contact. This competency mentorship is being used by both young as well as seasoned leaders. The program is currently available in English, Spanish, and Russian. By registering, you will have access to all our materials through the CLI online platform, providing you all the materials necessary to equip your leaders. Upon completion of the program, each candidate will earn an International MCNet Leadership Certificate. If you would prefer to download the materials of individual competencies, go to icmcanada.org/MCNetCLI.
theology and some of the readings that we have on this is a great book that you like.
Yeah, a book by Howard Stone and James Duke called How to Think Theologically. It's a great book. And
It's available in English and in Spanish, I think, isn't it? Or we're not sure about that.
Maybe just English, I'm not sure, but
if you're doing this in another country, another context, your local regional leader will have kind of other options that are applicable within your own language.
Yeah, and that's a good one. And then another one that is really helpful and is in Spanish for sure is The Portable Seminary.
Right.
And I don't know if you've come across this, but it's a book that's very thick.
Okay.
Could be used as a weapon if necessary. Just kidding. But the Portable Seminary has a lot of great.
That's online, right? theportableseminary.com or?
It's an actual published book.
Okay.
And you can get, it covers kind of the classic areas of what you would study if you did a master's degree.
Okay.
But in that, it has some really great writing by some great writers and some questions involved.
Excellent.
And so chapter 25 in particular applies to this area of applied theology.
Excellent. So those are a couple of great resources that we use, or other ones that you may have in your particular area that are in your language. What are some of the activities that we do in this one?
Well, we look at these questions of how does your view of God the Father, for instance, impact your life and ministry?
And then how does your view of Christ, how do you view of Jesus
How does that impact your life and ministry? Yeah. And so we go through there, and there's some follow-up questions that help you to sort of sort that out and work it out, right? And how does your view of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit really affect your leadership, your church,
right.
Your biases, and different things, and do an evaluation on that. And then we really encourage that while you're doing these assignments, to be meeting with someone, your mentor perhaps, to discuss any areas that you struggle with in applying theological belief systems into your life, into your ministry.
Which is important to do with someone, right? Someone you trust. And that's why the mentoring relationship, we've talked about competency, but now the mentoring side of this program is so important, because you have a trusted relationship with someone who's maybe walked a few steps ahead of you, that can, not tell you what to think, what to do, but at least can give you some guideposts and some markers along the way. Maybe.
Yeah. And some of the things you can discuss include how has your upbringing, your family, and maybe your early Christian context, how has your life experience, how has your theological schooling, and even your current ministry context, how have all these things influenced what theological assumptions you may have? Right.
It's not if they have, it's how. Because they have influenced us.
Absolutely they have.
And for sure.
To be able to talk about that with a mentor gives you some objective feedback on how did you come to these beliefs and these assumptions.
Yeah, so these three then, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, we're all about theology, but started with historical, what is the context of this theology, then we looked deeper into what these theology actually are, defining them and helping you understand that, and then really applying them. So that's kind of the trifecta here of theology for this program, all under 4.1 module, which is on theology.
Yeah, and hopefully we've succeeded in helping people take a real integrative approach to this, because that's the competency that we need in our life.
Exactly. Yeah. And so really we're turning a corner at this point. These first 4 modules covered, if you're doing this for credit, the first certificate in Christian leadership. But we're now switching over, and once we get to module 5, 6, 7, and 8, those are now under the advanced certificate in Christian ministry. And 5.0, next time we're looking at the areas of organization and how that impacts us and how we impact the organization. I think you'll really find it helpful, and a lot of people found the second half very practical as they start getting into ways of organizational development and how they can help grow the church.
To learn more about this MCNet Leadership Training Program and how you can implement it with your leaders, download the free orientation guide at mcnetcli.org. In order to register in the program, go to mcnetcli.org/contact, or to purchase and download the CLI materials, go to icmcanada.org/ MCNet CLI.